All right, welcome to the first ever episode of the Crimson Mask podcast for Middle of Nowhere Entertainment. My name is Austin, aka Odin's Beard 43. For those of you who watch the Potato Wayne podcast, you can follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at Odin's Beard 43. Shane?
I'm the Shane Show, baby, and you can follow me at Shane Show BB on Instagram and Twitter.
And I am Izzy. I have no social media, so you cannot follow me anywhere, but you can see me on here. So
we'll get him into Twitter or something. If you
Come
guys
on,
want
join the dark side.
Yeah, if you guys want to talk shit to Izzy, just post in the comments on YouTube or post on Middle of Nowhere Entertainment's Facebook page. And if you haven't yet, make sure you go hit that like button on there. Where we post when we stream video games or when we have our new episodes for either this podcast, the Potato Wayne podcast, or tomorrow myself and Raven F. Pat will be recording the Off Tackle podcast, which is going to be all about the NFL and everything going on within football. Today is a special episode, obviously, since it is the first episode of the Crimson Mask podcast. I almost said Potato Wayne there. As you can tell, we've been really excited about this one for a while. I started thinking about an idea about doing this, and I talked to Shane and Izzy, and I'm like we got a great group of guys right here to be able to do this. Just kind of a little heads up, here in a couple weeks, we're going to try to get some wrestlers on. I'm going to move that because that light is blinding. We're going to be getting some wrestlers on. We're going to be doing some interviews with some indie wrestlers in our area and possibly even further out. We have Shane rocking the Zawa Live shirt. That is our home promotion. That's me and Shane go to pretty much every show, if not every show. And tomorrow they have a free show in Rock Falls, so we're going to be going to that. But we're going to be having some of the guys on from the Zawa Live roster, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be able to talk to them about wrestling, life, whatever, anything. We have no fucking clue yet. But we're going to do this similar to how we do the Potato Wayne. We're going to go over what's going on in wrestling. Usually it's going to be a week-to-week basis. Since this is the first one, we are just going to do what's going on overall. We can go back a little bit if we want or whatever. Obviously, the biggest news this week was that AEW All Elite Wrestling announced October 2nd is going to be their first TV show on TNT Network. What do you guys think about that?
That's huge news. I mean, for TNT to have wrestling back is awesome. I mean, and it's, to me, TNT, AEW, more wrestling is better for every wrestler, every fan, all around. You know, it's better for WWE because now they have to pick up their ass to do something. You know,
that probably won't happen. Vince is just stuck in his ways. But it just struck me as funny that, so when WCW went closed, they had said it was because they don't want to be associated with wrestling. And I understand times change, but at the same time, it's like, now it's coming back, and TNT's like, oh, yeah, we're all for it. And it's like, you guys shut down. I mean, granted, when Bischoff said he was going to buy WCW, I don't think it would have lasted very long, but still, it would have been, a shot. It's just, to me, it's kind of weird. But all in all, I think it's awesome. I do think, we need something fresh. I just hope they don't muddy the waters with all this hardcore.
You watch your whore mouth there, mister.
I'm just saying.
Watch.
Got a point.
They also...
Look, it's like this. It's like, if you want to be taken seriously, then you do something to be taken seriously. Don't be like, okay, so we're going to have a 4.5-star match here and then have like this dude stapling a guy's nutsack. It just doesn't work. That's just me, though. It's just me. So
Yeah, it does. I'm interested to know what the name is going to be, because back when they first started trademarking names, they did trademark Tuesday Night Dynamite. Obviously, this is a Wednesday night show now. I believe they said it's going to be from 8 to 10, which actually is really cool because NXT is 7 to 8. So they're actually just going to be on right after NXT's done with their show every week, unless WWE changes that to try to counter them or whatever. But I want to know what the name of the show is going to be. I hope we find out soon.
I hope it's something that's related to Dusty. And maybe a pay-per-view that he never used or something. That would be really cool.
That would be sweet. I would be okay with that.
they're saying it might still be Wednesday Night Dynamite.
I had a feeling that might be it too. That was kind of because it still works. It doesn't have to be Tuesday Night Dynamite. Wednesday night. The Dynamite rhymes with night, not the fucking day of the week.
And it says Cody noted that AEW's more bloody content will likely be saved for the big events and pay-per-view events instead of weekly TNT series.
Yeah, that's gonna be more so TNT's call, I would think.
Well, yeah, they got sponsors.
Well, and that would make pay-per-view matches much more special too.
And speaking of bloody matches, they did just announce, and Shane, you messaged me right when it happened, that at All Out, so a little bit of a story here. When they first started signing wrestlers, they signed Jimmy Havoc, they signed Joey Janela, they signed Darby Allin. All the rumors about Mox coming into AEW and everything. I'm like, okay, dream match, all four of them in a hardcore match. Well, obviously Mox is going against Omega at All Out, but then they announced it's going to be Allin versus Janela versus Havoc. I needed to change my pants after that. Like, holy shit. I was so fucking happy. I honestly, I wish I was able to get tickets. I wish I had the money to get tickets at the time, because
that match is pretty much going to be a professional backyard wrestling match.
Oh, more than likely, yeah. They're just going to do crazy shit. It's just going to be a ton of crazy shit. And okay, so here, real quick, this is my theory. Until they get that weekly television show, a lot of the matches are going to be like that. There's just like, okay, let's just go show people what we can do. Because it's hard to set a storyline, even if they try setting it through the 2 YouTube series, the Road to whatever pay-per-views next. So, like right now, they have the Road to All Out, and why am I fucking blanking on the Young Bucks YouTube series name? I have no idea. But it's hard as shit to try to set storylines through that. They've done it a few times.
Being the Elite?
Yeah, being the Elite. How
do I know that?
I'm sorry.
I don't even like it.
And for those of you who don't know, Izzy hates the Young Bucks, and that's why he said that. But they did set up some storylines through him. I mean, they set up the storylines with the Hangman and the back when it was supposed to be Hangman versus Pocket, Double or Nothing. They were setting up a storyline with that. They set up the storyline where the Bucks just kept tearing into Cody and Dustin for the "I need my older brother" thing, and you can do some of that. When you have a weekly TV series, you're going to be able to set up storylines a lot better than what they're doing now. And I've heard people be like, "Well, there's no story." How the fuck do you want them to have a story?
Oh, you could. I mean,
it's a lot harder right now.
It's just like your indie feds that you have to carry that story somehow, and like how do they do it? How do they do it in the feds that you guys frequent and things like that? Because I don't go to a lot of indie shows.
Well, Zawa, it's just literally every show they do something. Like they just got done. What's that one group's name that went against Team Zawa Live?
Sour Saints?
The Sour Saints. Yeah, they have them come in and attack them at a bunch of shows and shit. And then it finally led to a 5v5 Survivor Series style match. Like they've only had what 3 shows right now, including Fyter Fest, which was awesome, but it wasn't really a full-on wrestling show. It was a gaming thing. They did a lot of other stuff, just trying to push this out to gamers. And I think once they get that, once October 2nd hits, we're gonna see a lot of stuff start coming through. Because right now they have the story. I'm guessing that it's gonna be Shawn Spears versus Cody at All Out, right?
Yeah.
If they haven't announced it yet.
No, they did. I'm looking at it right now with Tully Blanchard.
So, like, that's one storyline that they've been going. Everyone just wants to beat the fuck out of MJF in that. So,
Who's the best heel?
Including our friend Dayton.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, he's by far the best heel currently right now. Like, you can't touch him.
In wrestling, he's just
you can't
instantly comes out and gets heat for anything. Double
Dude,
or nothing.
I will say I'd never seen him before, and when I watched that Battle Royal, when he looked down at the legless guy and yelled "Lieutenant Dan," brilliant.
That, and when he came out when Bret Hart was in the ring.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait, Bret, there's a fan.
Yeah.
I was losing it. I'm like, okay, I gotta give it to him. He's a great heel, and he has been since he came in. And he's a solid wrestler too.
You heard the podcast with him in Austin, right?
I haven't yet. No.
It's the end of it's really good. I won't spoil it for you, but listen to it.
Okay, I'm gonna.
You know who I want to go back and forth on the mic is Jericho and MJF going back and forth.
That would be.
I would really be okay with that. So let's move on from AEW. We'll be talking about that more, I'm sure. But this week it was the Raw reunion special, and I know we talked about this for a minute right before we hopped onto here. Let's start with what was good, okay? So
that's a smaller list.
Yes, it's a lot smaller list. Well, we all said it was okay. It was decent. It was what it was, kind of shit. The one thing that and Izzy, I won't tell these guys before. Izzy said he knew. Izzy, what did you think I was going to talk about?
Bray Wyatt.
Yep, 100%. Bray Wyatt fucking coming in and using the mandible claw on Mick was phenomenal. He looks like a character that would use the mandible claw too.
Absolutely.
This new character is outstanding. Like, Izzy knows me. I love dark shit. You can see the fucking posters in the background. I love horror. There's a fucking Clockwork Orange, which is creepy, weird as fuck too. Like, as soon as his stuff started going off, I'm like, yes! And when he dropped Mick with the mandible claw, I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking perfect.
And Mick sold it well too.
Oh, hell yeah.
I like the way he did that.
Mick, well, you'd think he would know how to sell it. He's sitting there like, I've been trying to get these fuckers to sell this shit for 20 years now.
Well, I mean, like, just the fact that he's, actually selling it and putting him over, like, big, it shows that he, somebody like Mick Foley has faith that Bray Wyatt can carry that torch.
I feel like Mick's one of those guys that understands how to push the young guys, though. He was on an episode of BTE 2 weeks ago. There was just showing the Bucks doing a signing and everything, and some people were wearing Cactus Jack shirts, getting stuff signed from the Bucks. And Mick walked over to the Bucks table and started yelling at them to get in his line and all this stuff, just fucking around. And then Matt and Nick Jackson looked at him and goes, "Hey, Mick, look at your line. They're all wearing Young Bucks shirts." And they panned over, and literally at least 3/4 of Mick's line, which was probably a good 100 people, were wearing Young Bucks shirts. It was fucking hilarious. He goes, all right, guys, have a nice day, and walked away.
That's what happens when you pay people to wear your shirts.
Mm-hmm. And, the thing is with Mick Foley and that Bray Wyatt segment too is that they have gold in their hand right now with Bray Wyatt, and I just hope they do not shit the bed, because they shit the bed with Becky Lynch. They shit the bed with the CM Punk thing many years ago when he walked away with the title. I hope they don't shit the bed with this.
In regards to the Becky, I don't think they shit the bed until she got the title. All the stuff leading up to that, and then they're just like, all right, we got the title on her. Now what?
The only thing they haven't shit the bed with yet is the Kofi thing in recent years, to me.
I think it's gone on too long, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like Kofi should have lost it already, but I'm not going to lie. I absolutely love that the New Day have 3 fucking titles. They have the tag and the World Championship. Like, that's awesome.
That's because there are some wrestlers who are better chasers than they are that have it. Not saying Kofi's a horrible champion, just people were behind him more, being like, it's like Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 30.
They root for the underdog.
Right. And then it happened, and you're like, okay. And don't get me wrong, Kofi's been, like, they've actually been pushing him good. They weren't pushing him like Ray style, where it was like Ray wins the title and then he loses every match. Kofi's been winning his matches. So that's a plus. But it's getting stale.
Yeah. Was there anything else that you guys liked out of Raw Reunion? The 24/7 stuff, that was okay. Like, it's the fucking 24/7.
I
want him to do with it.
All right, ding ding, unpopular opinion. I am not a fan of it. I am not a fan because it's the same thing every week. It's like, okay, let's move on. When they had the hardcore title, that, it was different. It was a bunch of stuff going on, different era, of course. Now it's Drake Maverick, R-Truth, Drake Maverick, R-Truth. It's like, come on.
I get that.
But other than the Bray Wyatt thing, I would say Austin at the end. That was good. John Cena in the beginning.
I will
just
agree.
Dropping that fucking microphone on the Usos, and then he dropped that mic hard enough that they went and drank again.
And why did Rikishi come out to Too Cool's music?
He came out to that when he was wrestling.
Nope.
After he joined Too Cool, he started coming out to that music.
No, he would come out to the. We'll look it up afterwards.
Dude.
I'll look it up after. I'm sure.
I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
Shane, what did you like out of Raw Reunion, if anything else?
I like the fact that I like Stone Cold's speech, and obviously that's hard for me to say because I'm not a Stone Cold fan. Unpopular opinion. I did like the Bray Wyatt thing. I did like seeing the veteran wrestlers, but we'll also get into what I disliked about it. But
yes, he did, Izzy.
I think this week's SmackDown beat Raw.
Agreed.
Yeah. From what I've heard. I haven't watched SmackDown yet, but real quick, let's just one thing. We talked about the 24/7. Was there anything else that you guys absolutely hated out of Raw Reunion?
I hate how it's a variety show. When I turn into the channel to watch wrestling, I want to watch some wrestling. I don't want to watch a variety show. If I wanted to watch that, I'd go watch the Kardashians or something like that.
See, that's the issue, that up until they go to Fox with SmackDown, that WWE is going to have, because it's sports entertainment. When they go to Fox and Fox wants it to be a more athletic and wrestling focused show, I think they might take off, and we're going to start seeing some better SmackDown shows.
Right.
I don't know yet. I was hesitant. Everyone got really excited when they put Heyman and Bischoff in charge of the 2 shows. And I believe I talked to you about it, Shane. Vince still is the one that everything goes through. And if he thinks something works or is funny or whatever, it's gonna fucking get on the show, because he thinks whatever he does, he knows best and all that shit. And
right.
He hasn't for quite a while. Go ahead.
But I mean, SmackDown this week was the first show Bischoff supposedly took charge.
Yeah.
And it was probably one of the best wrestling shows that I've seen in a very, very long time.
That's awesome. I know Bray showed up again, taunting Balor, right?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm guessing that
he showed up as the Funhouse.
Okay, is that leading to a match at SummerSlam? Do you guys think?
Yeah, they announced it.
They did announce it already.
Yep.
Okay. I gotta fucking look that up.
And I guarantee it will be
a little bit.
It'll be Demon. I mean,
oh, dude, Demon versus Psycho Clown person.
The Fiend, sir.
Is that what they're calling it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there was
Psycho Clown person better. That would be awesome on a shirt. Psycho Clown person. We gotta get that made for Dayton.
We're gonna call him Psycho Clown.
And then there was Miz TV. Shawn Michaels was the guest, and Ziggler came out, that was a really good segment between those three. Probably three of the best people on the microphone in WWE history.
And there's Izzy's face. As soon as you brought up Miz, I knew where this was going.
Two of them, actually. Who's the other one that I don't like in that group?
Oh, I didn't hear.
It's Ziggler.
Oh, yeah, I know you hate Ziggler. But so Miz, when was it? Before the whole Best in the World tournament stuff, Miz was he had the IC title. He was right around when he was calling out Daniel Bryan and all that shit was going on and everything. I'm like, Miz is the best thing that WWE has right now because he's great on the mic. He's actually turned himself into a solid wrestler, a decent enough wrestler. And Izzy's just sitting there just shaking his head. Nope, fuck the Miz, all this shit.
I still am. Have you seen his figure 4? Oh my god, it's horrendous. Horrendous.
That's fine. Like I said, he's great on the mic. He's a great character, and he's a decent enough wrestler.
He's cannon fodder.
Well, so is half the fucking roster right now.
Just seeing Ziggler super kick Shawn Michaels was actually pretty cool.
I'm
a big fan of both of them.
You don't see it that often that Michaels gets something like that.
Right, and that was cool to see.
That's nuts. Anything else big happen on SmackDown?
Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens team that they were going against each other because of Shane McMahon. Yay. But Shane McMahon was like the announcer and Elias was whatever and Drew was the referee. But Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens started beating up everybody. Which is kind of nice seeing Kevin Owens being the star instead of Roman Reigns, which is nice. I mean, I really think in the long run they need to turn Roman Reigns heel. I think he'd actually be a really good bad guy. He's got the swagger to be a bad guy. They just need to do it.
I agree with.
They should have pulled the trigger right after he beat Undertaker because everybody was booing him. What they should have done, let's rewrite history here. What they should have done was had him come out the night after WrestleMania on Raw with Triple H. Everybody's booing him. And when he goes to say something on the mic, Triple H stops him and says, "You don't need to say anything. You're a silent killer." And then look at the crowd and be like, "Now you have a reason to boo him," and leave. He would have been the new figurehead, but what do I know?
And they didn't completely turn him, but they did start doing the I don't care what anybody thinks. This is my yard. I'm going to do what I want kind of shit. And if they just went a little bit more towards the heel with that, that would have been perfect. That would have been fine. That would have been a lot better than them trying to, I don't care what anybody else thinks. I'm going to do whatever I want, but I'm going to be a good guy while doing it.
Yeah.
I think that's how, if they turn Roman heel for a while and then later on turn him face again, he'd have more fans. That's just hit the fans with a reverse psychology, turn him heel, and then they're going to cheer for him because he's a bad guy.
But they're going to look at it as, how do you boo? And here's where Austin's going to throw in his conspiracy theory. How do you boo somebody
Not doing that.
Who had leukemia? I think that's the way they look at it. They're like, we can't do that. But you've got a point. They should do it like that.
Yeah. I would be okay with that. Like, let's turn him heel and then try to turn him face afterwards.
Started at the Rumble. Let him throw out somebody the fans like.
You'd think that they would have learned with John Cena and how over time the fans turned on Cena.
Yeah, but now the fans are like, Cena's good.
Well, that's just because he's fucking not there and getting shoved down their throats all the time.
At least when Cena had the United States Championship, there was open challenges in wrestling.
Yeah. So, let's move on.
One more thing. They did announce one more match for WrestleMania. Or WrestleMania. What am I talking? SummerSlam. It was Kofi and Orton.
Yeah. Yay, Orton going for another fucking title.
Well, they went back and they showed, like, Kofi was like, it all started at this time, and it showed in Madison Square Garden when Kofi attacked him and jumped on him and put him through the table. You remember that?
Yes.
Are you just saying that?
No, I kind of remember.
But yeah, they went with that, and that's the story they're going with is because now he's basically saying, oh, Randy, was holding all these young guys down. You know that storyline. So that's the storyline they're going with, which I think it would work with Orton because he just has that I don't care attitude right now.
And because it's true. But we'll move on now. Real quick, they did announce a match for 205 Live this week, and I don't know if either of you guys watch it as much anymore. Was it last week? I think I don't know what his name is that they're using now, but Shane Strickland was on it versus Drew Gulak, which had I watched some of the highlights. There was he did I can't remember the name of the fucking kick, but he did this really insane kick. I just put Drew Gulak face down into the mat. It was fantastic. Shane Strickland, we all know, is fucking phenomenal wrestler. But the match they announced, of course you did.
Isaiah Swerve Scott.
Okay.
Yeah,
At least they're letting keep Swerve. Like, that's the main thing.
Well, they'll just drop his name and just keep
Swerve.
Swerve. Yeah.
I'd be okay with that. I don't. Topic for another episode: name changes when they go into WWE, because this shit that's going on in NXT with this fucking breakout tournament is pissing me off. But the big match that they announced for next week's episode of 205 Live, and I actually might watch it, is an unsanctioned match between Drake Maverick and Mike Kanellis. And I love Mike Kanellis. He's fucking amazing.
Love him. He's one of my favorites.
Well, and it's not even just the wrestling. Like, his story altogether, and like his drug addiction and pain pill addiction and all that kind of stuff. And then him, since he got into the WWE, kind of, I guess, with 205 Live, just completely turning his life around. And you guys seen him. He's fucking shredded now. And that kind of stuff. Like, that is an awesome storyline. And an unsanctioned match means anything could happen. So, Mike Kanellis and Drake Maverick are going to be like, all right, let's try to do something to get 205 more over. Because it's been great wrestling. It's been phenomenal wrestling. So
I like the fact that he's got Maria. I'm a big manager fan. I love managers.
They're fighting right now.
Yeah, but that whole story right now is just really weird.
It is.
It's like
I'm
really
okay with
bizarre.
Because Maria's pregnant again, so they're doing stuff with, like, her not... how she's the breadwinner and all this shit, and it's kind of awkward, but...
You know what's going to happen at the end.
She's going to get pregnant.
Vince is sitting in the boardroom.
No,
Vince is sitting in the boardroom going, we'll blame it on hormones. That's what it is. It's hormones.
I could see it. I could see that.
They need to bring them back to NXT and form the Kingdom with Adam Cole.
I'd be okay with that.
Or bring them with Undisputed. Be the big guy.
Because I honestly went. Speaking of NXT, so we'll use that as a segue to this week's episode of NXT. They did have a match with that breakout challenge I was talking about. Another guy that really didn't need a name change is ACH. And hold up, I gotta see I'm gonna search him real quick. I gotta see what his new name is now. Jordan Miles. And is what it is. But he had a very, very good match against a Garza.
Angel Garza.
Angel Garza. That match was really good. I really enjoyed that match. And he won, so he is going against next week's winner, which I already have the winners for. Next week is Bronson Reed. That's the one that I hate the most, by the way.
Is that DJZ?
No. That is fucking Jonah Rock. He big motherfucker. He looks like a giant Samoan. And they gave him fucking Bronson Reed. First Cameron Grimes, aka Trevor Lee. I'm trying to think. DJZ's new name is Joaquin Wild.
I'll never get that because he's always going to be Zima Ion or DJZ to me. I've known him before he was even,
I don't understand any of these fucking name changes. Dexter Loomis? Because, Samuel Shaw wasn't good enough. I fucking loved that name.
Well, that's what this tournament's for. The winner gets to pick their name.
Oh, God.
Don't worry about it.
But the Jordan Miles versus Angel Garza match, great match. A lot of different things that happen in it. At one point, Garza was on the outside of the ring, and Miles went to get him, and he was standing on the top of the apron and like the little apron part, and Garza reached up and just pulled it from under his feet. I don't know if I'm gonna still call him ACH. Fuck it. ACH was ready for it or not, because his feet went fucking flying. He landed right here on the corner of the ring, on the edge of the ring, which, as we know, is the hardest part of every ring.
I was about to say that.
I got you. I know. Michael Cole there. But it was just insane. And a great ending. Jordan Miles got the win. He looks really good. At the end, the guy that's left over from TM61 or the Mighty, whatever, he came out and interrupted at the broadcast desk and said that he didn't need a breakout tournament. He's going to break out on his own and all this shit. And I'm okay with, like, if he wants to be this heel guy, like, he was a good wrestler. I really enjoyed TM61 or the Mighty or whatever the fuck you want to call them. Because, there's name changes every other week with fucking WWE right now. I really enjoy that. And then the other things, the big things that happened, there was the announcement of the North American title match at TakeOver Toronto. So everybody loves the Dream here, right? The Velveteen Dream.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he was out there and he talking about putting the title up, and all of a sudden Undisputed Era's music comes up and Roddy Strong comes out and says Velveteen's been ducking him and all this shit. Then all of a sudden more music hits, and then everyone realizes whose it is. Here comes the fucking bruiserweight Pete Dunne. Well, they made that a match. That match official. It's gonna be a triple threat between Velveteen Dream, Pete Dunne, and Roderick Strong. That match is gonna be fucking nuts.
That should probably be main event.
Co-main event.
Co-main event.
Co-main event. That would be the second to last match. I guarantee it. Well, maybe not, because I'm guessing there's gonna be a women's title match. I haven't seen that announced yet.
Shayna, my girl Shayna.
Yeah, she's grown on me.
Dude, she's awesome. She's really good. All the time she spent in NXT has really been good for her, I think. Because at the beginning, I'm just like, oh, yay, another strong chick that can throw people around and put people in submissions. But then she can tell stories now and shit like that, and she's gotten really, really good. The other match announcement was, which we knew, it was going to be Cole versus Gargano for the NXT title. And they are pretty much doing a 3 Stages of Hell match, right?
Yeah.
Bet 2 out of 3 falls. There's a stipulation for each fall. The third fall hasn't been announced. Regal gets to announce that. I'll get to that here in a second because I have a theory on that one too. And we were talking about this right before, and I would be ecstatic. But Gargano announced he wanted it. His stipulation was going to be a street fight. I want that one to be first because I think that would be hilarious. They get done with the street fight and then have to go to Cole's, which Cole picked just a regular one-on-one match. So that'd be sweet though. Street fight, then a one-on-one. That'd be sweet.
Pretty cool.
I'm already hyped for this match because it's gonna be fucking sweet anyway. Because those two are phenomenal wrestlers, and you know they're gonna do something crazy. And what we talked about right before the show, and I want Regal to come say, "I'm saving mine. I'll announce it if the third fall happens." So they get done with the second fall because everyone knows 2 out of 3 falls goes to the third fall. I think, how many times has it not, Izzy? Do you know? Recently, at least. Hasn't there been one?
Not to my knowledge.
I
thought there was one not too long ago. And
2 out of 3 falls.
Not if it was stipulations like a 3 Stage of Hell kind of stipulation.
No, but like just a straight 2 out of 3.
Oh well, yeah. There've been
done in 2 falls.
Yeah, there was actually, I think it was a tag team match not too long ago that did that.
Yeah, because I thought I remembered one. But I want Regal to come out after that, after the second fall. I'd be like, all right, my stipulation is this is now a triple threat match, and Tommaso Ciampa comes back. I would lose my fucking mind. I doubt it's gonna happen. I don't know if Ciampa's ready yet. I've seen on Instagram, I do follow him on there. He is looking a lot better, and I know he was at the Evolve show, which I do want to give a shout out to that. One of our Zawa Live guys, Stephen Wolf, was at the Evolve show, put on a fucking show, just insane. Between him and Shotzi Black, those two, Shotzi Blackheart or whatever, those two were probably the talks of everything after that show. Was Wolf just doing crazy shit, and then Shotzi diving onto a pile of chairs. That was fucking phenomenal.
It was good to see Wolf. It was good to see Wolf on that. He deserves it, and I really hope that he goes as high as he can go.
Well, we know he can get up there pretty high. That's a top rope joke.
There's actually been quite a few matches that have ended that way.
That's weird. Like I remember one recently, but like I want to say we even talked. You and me might have talked about that too. Just
MVP beat that who shall not be named in 2 straight falls to win the U.S. title.
Are we talking about Vacant?
I guess you can say that.
That's what we call him, Vacant, because that's what it says in the record books now.
Strangely, I thought you said bacon.
Oh, Bacon. Bacon.
I got you.
If I said bacon, it would be Canadian bacon. Let's be real.
There you go.
Ham. It's ham. Ham.
Canadian bacon, damn it.
Ham.
But yeah, I'm really excited for the NXT stuff. So for the rest of the episode, we got like another, I don't know, 15 minutes or so left in us, I think. We talked about, we want to let the viewers, let you guys get to know us as people that enjoy wrestling a little bit. You literally see all 3 of us rocking different wrestling promotion shirts. I got the kind of, I guess, AEW now, SCU shirt. Izzy's got an Evolution shirt, and Shane's got the Zawa Live shirt. He's also got the Christian Rose hat, which he pretty much wears every day, all day.
I even sleep with it.
That's why he's using that hair.
Yep.
See, I still think that's a myth, by the way, because look at this shit. I wear a hat all the time, too. But we want to let you guys get to know us a little bit more. We enjoy all different types of wrestling. But we want to talk about, we'll start off with three of our favorite matches of all time. Each of us will just throw two or three out there, I guess. Izzy, do you want to start that?
Yeah, I can. So for I have three. I mean, I have quite a few, but my three, the entire Royal Rumble match, the 1992 Royal Rumble match, and I think we had that discussion before, Austin.
Ooh.
It's the one that Flair won.
Okay. Yep.
Flair won the title.
For the title, yeah.
Yeah, from the beginning of that match to the end, the commentary was great. The storytelling was great. Just the entire match was just awesome, I thought.
And real quick, just for our viewers, some of the stuff that Izzy talks about might be a lot older because he's old. So,
actually, it's funny you say that because my next two are from like WrestleMania 13 and SummerSlam of '92. So,
like I said, old shit.
These are in no particular order. My second favorite is Bret Hart versus Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13, the infamous double switch they had go on there.
That was
double turn switch. I don't want to talk about. Yeah, I thought again it was great storytelling. The whole crowd just wanted Austin. They were tired of the whole Bret Hart shtick, things like that, and it made a star out of Austin.
That imagery too of Austin and the fucking shooter with the blood just pouring down his face, not tapping, all that. That match is fucking amazing.
Yeah, and then my third, and it's weird not weird, but I have another Bret Hart match. It was Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect at SummerSlam '92 for the Intercontinental title. Again, great wrestling. It was like a wrestling match. It was just straight wrestling, and they made a little bit more realism at the end because you see Hart like tearing at Perfect's attire, and it looked like they were legit fighting when they weren't, but they really pushed it. So I mean, like I said, I have more, but those are the three that came to mind like that. So I will take it over to Shane if he wants.
All right, my three is the first one is Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho, WrestleMania 19. That match I'll never forget. I remember where exactly I was and everything else. It's my two favorites of all time, and that match is incredible. It made me want to shut the whole world out and forget about everything. My second match is Angle versus Benoit at Royal Rumble 2003. I'm a big-time technical wrestler, and that match was just a very, that was a wrestling match to me. And then my third one is Christian Rose versus Matt Cage at Dreamwave 100. That match had a really good storyline and a good story. It was an incredible match. It's the best match I've ever seen live, and that's the reason that me and Rose started talking to Rose and actually following him around more, his wrestling career. And
he literally follows him around. He's followed him at McDonald's and stuff like that.
He's a really good dude, really good. And that match, I truly did not want that match to end because it was such a good story. Austin?
So my number one match ever will always be Flair versus Michaels at WrestleMania 24. That's Flair's last match. That because the whole storyline going up, I remember I think it might have been a few episodes, there was a ladder match or something, and I remember Flair taking a suplex off the top of the ladder from Matt Hardy. And this was it was a while before that, but I'm just sitting there like
that was Money in the Bank, the WrestleMania before that.
And I remember sitting there thinking, he was what, 60 something at the time, taking a fucking suplex off the top. Like, he can't do this forever. And they just had a perfect storyline where if Flair loses, he retires. And no one really knew, like, everyone knew he probably should retire, but no one knew when it would be. And they had him in all these matches where all the odds were against him. He just kept coming out on top. Then they put him against Shawn Michaels. And those two had chemistry for days. For one, they've always had chemistry. But just the entire match, there was so much emotion. The match just it felt like a kind of an old school Flair match when I was growing up watching Flair, even in WCW, where it was just he was on the top of his game, and I wasn't expecting that this far along. And the "I'm sorry, I love you" before the super kick or sweet chin music, just everything in that match, just the pure emotion in that match got me. That will always be one of my favorite matches of all time. Um, my
You got me
second,
all teary-eyed.
I know. My second favorite match was Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega 2. That one might surprise some people because everyone's order usually is like 3, 2, then 1. 2 was my favorite because that's the one that ended in a draw.
I was about to ask you if that was the one that did.
I believe it was a 60-minute draw.
Yeah.
And what I loved about that, they just went crazy on each other. They did insane spots. They beat the living piss out of each other. Like, and people that watch NJPW, watch New Japan Wrestling, they do actually, their strikes are stiff. And they were not backing down. They put on the best show they could. And then at the match ends, it's a draw. They're both just laying in the ring, and you can tell they're physically exhausted from everything they just did. They literally, we know this now from who was Shibata. We know how hard they go in New Japan. That they are putting their lives on the line, even in just a regular singles match, especially when they go that hard. And everyone was like, okay, this is going to be... This wasn't too far. I think that was at Dominion. And it wasn't too far after Okada Omega won. And everyone just wanted more. Everyone wanted more of that match. And it left us wanting more so they could set up a third to be able to hand the belt to Omega and everything. It was just, that match was outstanding. And then my last one is also a Kazuchika Okada match, which was Okada versus Marty Scurll at All In. And the best part about this, so you guys both talked about how you loved the storytelling in the matches and the wrestling and everything. That match was pure wrestling, but the story that they were able to get out of BTE with Marty not being a heavyweight and Okada saying he's going to send him to 205 Live and shit and cracking jokes about that. And Marty being it's the underdog story that we were talking before with Kofi. For them to be able to just go in there with like 2 or 3 segments out of 3 episodes, little like 3-4 minute segments out of 3 episodes of BTE, and people to buy into Marty is trying to prove himself as a heavyweight, getting shirts made as it says I'm a heavyweight and shit. And the match they just put on where it really was back and forth, and Marty proved that he can go with the best of the best, and I can't wait until he ends up being on TNT, which is hopefully later this year. If I remember right, I believe his contract expires, and he's going to go hang out with his buddies, let's be real. But that match, it was outstanding, and it ended how it should with Okada winning, because Okada is one of the greatest right now, and pure wrestler. And that's not... I love the character and everything, but just as a pure wrestler, he's probably one of the greatest going right now. So let's jump back into favorites. Let's go with like 2 or 3 favorite wrestlers currently. Shane, you want to start us off? I know your number one's on your head.
Yep. Christian Rose, obviously. The guy has done more for me, just past wrestling. He's become a friend, a mentor. Me working out with my cerebral palsy, he's become just more than a wrestler to me. He's become a friend. And, my other 2 are Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho will be my current favorite until he's gone. I mean, the guy is David Bowie of wrestling. He can he evolves in different, his gimmicks change, everything. Like, he's going to be the greatest of all time. He is the greatest of all time, but someday he's going to be remembered big time.
Oh, definitely. Izzy, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Going on the same of what you have said, Jericho is on my list. Same reasons. I never put together the David Bowie thing, but you have a really good point on that. There was a lot that he's done for this business, and he's entertained. And it's funny because my buddy Eric, shout out to him, he always gives me grief because when Jericho debuted in WWE was in Chicago, he had an extra ticket and was just going to give it to me for free. And I was like, nah, dude, I got to work. He was like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. So I go home the next day because I worked overnights. I go home the next day, pop in my VHS. For those who know what that is, it's how archaic this is. I pop in my
tape. That shows how long Jericho's been in the wrestling game. Because there was fucking years before that he was in WCW.
Yeah. And before that, he was in other territories that, but I popped the tape in. I'm sitting there watching Raw, and there it is. My favorite wrestler at the time. I'm like, that's awesome. So ever since then, he gives me grief for that.
I can't believe you missed the Millennium Clock.
Yeah, I should have. Stupid me. Anyways, my second, like I said, these are in no order. My second is currently the Revival. Again, I just love the wrestling. I love the tag team that they do. I don't agree with how WWE is using them, but them's the breaks, But all in all, I think they're a really good tag team. If they even had a manager like Heyman, managing them, and like you said, earlier before we started about the whole manager thing, managers need to make a comeback on this one because somebody like the Revival, if you had Heyman with them, holy crap. That you have a talk. It's almost like back in the day, and I'm not saying he's as good, but it's almost like when you had Bobby Heenan with the Brainbusters. You had
Heyman's.
You had the talk, and you had the action. That's all you needed. And currently, my third, even though he hasn't been on for a while, but he's just now coming around, is Bray Wyatt. I think the guy is a genius. The guy, he was born into this sport. He's got a knack for what he does, and just his imagination. I'm just glad they let his imagination run wild, and that just says go, But again, like you said, as long as they don't screw it up, we'll see what we got, But right now, he is by far one of my favorites, also.
Yeah, and you guys both said Jericho, so I'm not going to mention Jericho on mine. He's a GOAT. He is one of the greatest of all time. He's been one of my favorite wrestlers for a very, very long time. I remember loving him when he was a cruiserweight in WCW. And back when the Lion Tamer was a thing instead of this fucking
conspiracy victim
bullshit he's doing now. And you just mentioned Bray also. Obviously, like I said, dark stuff, horror, love it. So I'm going to take him out too. But there is a certain AEW wrestler that I mentioned, and he is my favorite one. And I even have a fucking tattoo to prove it. Jimmy fucking Havoc is my favorite wrestler going on. And here's my reason. Like, I do enjoy death matches. I enjoy hardcore. He is more than that. There's been matches that I've seen of him over at Progress Wrestling in UK. And if you haven't checked those guys out, that's where WWE is getting their influx of UK talent right now. Everybody that they have came from Progress. They're outstanding. They have an app where you can get a bunch of different... They have AEW shows out of Chicago on the app also, so you can watch the shows on that. And they have a bunch of different promotions and stuff. But he's had matches over there and that weren't hardcore matches or death matches or anything. And he is just an outstanding wrestler all the way through. He might not be the most athletic. He's not the fastest, the biggest, the strongest, anything like that. But he's very technically sound. He is willing to do whatever it fucking takes. And this is the key part. He knows how to tell a fucking story. They started in Progress. He was their champion for like 2 years. They took the belt off him. They started putting him in death matches and stuff. And then the whole story was he's more than a death match wrestler. And he's been on interviews. He loves death matches. Like, he thinks his career longevity will be longer doing that than possibly getting landed on his head or something. So, but they did this huge storyline where he was attacking people because they wouldn't just give him a normal match. They just kept putting him in death matches. So he's like, all right, fine, fuck you guys. I'm just going to beat everybody's ass. It was just outstanding. My second is Marty Scurll. What he's been able to do right now without the Elite being with him, with Villain Enterprises, bringing in, with ROH giving him Brody King and PCO, and now the Mercenary, who my guess is going to end up taking over Villain Enterprises when Marty leaves. Even before that, he's an amazing wrestler. He's an old school wrestler. He doesn't do all the high flying stuff. He's a ground guy. He's a grappler, and it's really fun to watch that kind of stuff. And every wrestler pretty much has a submission. No one has a submission like Marty, where everyone yells chicken wing and everyone knows what's coming, and that's one of his only finishers. That's his main finisher, is a fucking submission now. That doesn't happen too often anymore. Third, I haven't watched a lot of recent stuff, like super recent stuff, like in the past couple weeks. But Jay White, since he took over the Bullet Club, was on fire. He came, like, I knew they were gonna do some big things with him back watching him. Back when Okada versus Omega, Jay White was still on the card and everything, and we watched him. Izzy, you and I watched him when we watched Wrestle Kingdom, and I think that was like his first match as the Switchblade and everything. Fantastic wrestler, has the look, can do everything, can grapple, can do some high flying stuff, can do power moves. He's just, everything he does is outstanding, and he's got an extremely bright future for himself, especially leading the Bullet Club now. So let's do two. And guys that we haven't mentioned, so that takes Jericho out. Two favorite wrestlers all time. Izzy, go.
You would do that.
Yep.
Right.
Hey, we talked about this. We knew we were doing all time.
All right. Well, no. I mean, like, I have three, and you cut it down. So now I have to choose.
Down to two. Oh, fine. Just say all three.
No. That's fine. Well, obviously the first one, just because I love, again, like you said, technical wrestling and a wrestling match. Bret Hart. I just thought he was a very sound wrestler. The match that was dedicated to Owen when it was him and Benoit, I thought that was a great match in WCW. For my other one, you know what? I'm going to go old school on this one and say Randy Savage. He was a promo king.
I thought you were going to go Bruno Sammartino.
No.
That was back from your younger days, though.
I was thinking, Pedro Morales or, no. But Randy Savage, like I said, he was a promo king. He had intensity. Like, you knew he was going to whoop somebody, The match he had with the Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 7, that retirement match, he made the Warrior look like $1 million. And the Warrior just was not good at all, So he could wrestle anybody and make it look good. Just throwing it out there, my third was Stone Cold, just because. So I will pass it on.
Go ahead, Shane.
Well, I had Macho Man and Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels is actually the reason I started watching, WWE, WWF at the time. He was the reason, and then DX was the reason, and then along came Chris Jericho on WCW, and I'm like, hey! And then, Macho Man definitely, like he said, the promos and everything else, and, all that. Miss Elizabeth, the manager, like, he had the manager thing, and it was a perfect storm with Macho Man. It really was.
You guys got to stay away from Miss Elizabeth, though. Very.
Now, yeah.
So for me, well, real quick, fun fact: when I was really younger, like first grade down, I had been both Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior for Halloween. Yeah, for the Ultimate Warrior, I just used the Macho Man outfit because it had like the fucking pads in it and everything, so you had the muscles, and I just painted my face. Oh yeah, I didn't have fucking long hair at the time. I had little short fucking hair and everything. It had to be awful. I'll have to try to find pictures. That'll be fucking hilarious.
You were the somewhat Ultimate Warrior.
Okay, so
just a warrior.
I was.
Yeah.
So my one of my favorites of all time. I'm just gonna say one of them because we did name a few that are gonna be above him. But Edge. Everything that he did for the company, being in the tag team, whether it be tag teaming with Christian, they were phenomenal. Doing the TLC matches with the Dudleys and Hardy Boys, those things, and then when he finally reached the top where he could be the WWE champion, he didn't look back. He didn't struggle at all. He still killed it every fucking time up until his neck injury. And when he did retire, I was fucking bawling, dude. I was devastated because I loved watching him perform. Even though he was a heel, I would boo him, but I absolutely loved him.
Right.
As a wrestler. He was outstanding. Not everything he did was outstanding, Lita, but the live sex celebration.
That was pretty terrible.
That was awful. And I remember hearing, I think it was on the podcast that reeks of awesomeness or whatever they fucking call it, that totally reeks of awesome, their podcast, Edge and Christians. I think he talked about that once, and he goes, dude, they told me literally like 3 minutes before we were supposed to go out there. They had the bed set up and everything. I had no way to go. I had to fucking do it. And I was dying laughing. And then I'm going back and forth with this one. I was going to say Stone Cold because big part of my youth, obviously, we're younger people. You're not, Izzy. So that was a big part of your 20s, probably.
Actually,
I'm right.
The Attitude Era started, I want to say, when I was like maybe 13 or 14.
Shit.
No. Well, Stone Cold became Stone Cold in what, like 94, 5? No, okay.
I think it was the 94 Royal, or King of the Ring, wasn't it? That was the 316.
So, okay, I was just going into high school. No, okay. I was already in high school. Look, I don't remember. Anyways, go on.
I was 4 or 5, depending on what year we just chose.
Anyways.
I'm the baby of this group, by the way, guys. There goes Shane. Hey, leave it there, Shane. Leave it there. Just you got to sit like that the rest of the time, though.
Shit.
It's actually a good angle, though. Like, we see your belt and everything. But the guy I was going to pick, and now that I'm older and I can go back and enjoy older wrestling matches and everything, I do like his stuff before when I was a kid and got into wrestling. But when I was a kid, everything was about him for everybody. It's Sting. When Sting came in back with the crow makeup and sitting up in the rafters and just coming in and beating the shit out of people with a baseball bat, I absolutely loved it. I think that's where my obsession with dark shit came from, to be honest.
I'm gonna go.
Fucking, I remember they had Sting versus Vampiro on a pay-per-view, and Vampiro lit Sting on fire and then threw him off the fucking Titantron. Yep. It was fucking amazing. Even then, I was like, as a kid, at the time I still thought this shit was real. So I'm like, holy shit, he just killed Sting.
Wait, it's not real?
And then
spoiler alert.
Hey, Hey, wait. I'll chop you. We'll see if that's real.
You know what? That reminds me.
I've been shocked
That
by your
reminds,
academy. I've been shocked by Submit You's own Cody Harris.
Oh God.
that reminds me of that time at Walmart, Austin. Remember when we were talking and somebody goes, "Wrestling's not real," and I was like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me? It's a lie."
Oh my.
Oh,
Hey,
he's like, "You're a dick."
But I remember as a kid thinking everything was real, and like I'm like, oh my God, they just killed Sting, and then he'd come back the next week still. And him versus the NWO was some of the best storylines that WCW ever had. Refusing to join the NWO and all that stuff when literally half the fucking locker room was wearing an NWO shirt. That was so. They had a great idea and then killed it.
We'll get into that one some other episode.
Yeah, that's gonna be another episode. But
At the NWO comes and helps Sting when he's going against Triple H at WrestleMania. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Real quick, I know, guys, this is our first episode. There's gonna be a little bit technical difficulties. I know some of the mic isn't the best. Some, like with me and my Skype, sometimes it lags out a little bit on these guys. I do apologize. We are going to be trying to get some kinks worked out. You probably noticed that there was pauses and there was interruptions and stuff, and that will get worked out the more comfortable we become together. Because this is the first time we've been on fucking Skype together doing this. So
send all your hate mail to Austin.
Yeah,
yep.
Go ahead.
Austin gets it.
Twitter, OdinsBeard43. Go ahead, guys. But we will keep working on it. The next episode will be next Thursday. What's today's date? The 25th. So what's next Thursday? The 1st.
31st.
The 1st. There's no 31. 31st is Wednesday. August 1st is going to be the next episode.
Wait. Were you about to say there is no 31st and then corrected yourself?
Yeah, trying to prove me damn wrong, but you failed.
Hey, I still proved you wrong. It's the 1st. But the next episode will come out on the 1st. We'll come up with some ideas for what we want to talk about. Every week, we're going to want to do this week in, I almost said week in gaming. This hosting stuff, doing it for this and the Potato Aim, man. Just wait till tomorrow when I'm saying fucking Crimson Mask for the football podcast.
I would even say people can like submit ideas for things to talk about too if they want.
Definitely. If you guys want, we've been trying to get more fan interaction going with the Potato Aim podcast, also with the gaming aspect. If you guys have stuff you guys want to hear us talk about or have questions for us, throw them on the bottom of the YouTube videos. We will answer. Throw them towards mine and Shane's socials. This is why you need a social media platform, Izzy. Get a fucking Twitter.
Hey, if you want to find me that's not off the grid, hop onto PlayStation because that's the only way you're going to find me.
I'm going to give them all your address. Or your phone number. You just get random texts all day. That'd be fucking hilarious. But we're going to talk about for next week. Every episode we're going to want to do what happened the past week. Like I said at the beginning, this week was a little different. But next week we're going to go over what has happened with Raw and SmackDown and NXT. Later on this year, we'll be going over AEW show, more than likely Wednesday Night Dynamite. And what we'll do is review SmackDown when it goes to Fridays. So we'll review last SmackDown. So it won't be the full week and everything just because schedules and shit. But
and pay-per-views.
Yeah, and definitely we'll be hitting all the pay-per-views. We talked about AEW, WWE, NJPW, Zawa Live Indie Wrestling, Dreamwave Shane mentioned, which is an indie wrestling here in Illinois, which is fucking amazing, and they're coming back. So we'll definitely talk about them on an upcoming show when it gets closer to their rebirth, their zombification, as if you may, or if you will.
I don't know if it's going to be just the one show or kind of like Funky Monkey's doing right now, coming back here and there. But either way, I'm excited for it.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. And we'll definitely talk about that. That's in October, so we'll talk about that the week before for sure. And I talked about Progress. We're talking about everything wrestling. It's not just one promotion. It's not just the big guys. We're talking indie stuff too. I know we talked about me and Shane are going to a free show in Rock Falls tomorrow. Then Zawa Live has another show on the 17th, was it, Shane?
17th, yep, 17th in Oregon at Scoop.
17th of next month. So we're gonna keep talking everything wrestling. We are gonna plug our guys, our friends and stuff too, because they're really important to us and they're really good wrestlers. And we'll be getting those guys on, I'm guessing here on episode 3. That's gonna be the tentative plan. But we'll try to get them on. What we're going to do is get some indie guys on, and we're going to do an interview style for about 20 minutes or so. But we'll do one at a time. But we'll be discussing that more. Hopefully, we'll have an announcement as to who the wrestler will be next week. Anything else you guys want to add?
Just at the Zawa show tomorrow. Free show starts at 5. That Bowman Autos in Rock Falls. It's free. If you like wrestling. Ryan's great with Zawa. The guys are great. All the wrestlers are associated with it, from top to bottom. It's a fun, it's free, like I said, and it's a good show, and come support your indie wrestling.
And even if you're not from Illinois like we are, there's indie wrestling everywhere. There's a wrestling boom going on right now. It's been going on for a couple years, 2 or 3 years now. Go support your indie wrestling. You might not know any of the guys, but you'll get to know who they are, their characters, and everything. For those of you, if anybody does come through to the Rock Falls, Illinois show for Zawa Live at Bowman Auto Center, it is free. It's a family-friendly. Most of the Zawa shows are, like 98% are family-friendly shows. But tomorrow's show, which is Friday the 26th, I almost turned on my Xbox, is a bring your own lawn chairs. That's what I was going to say. Because that's what seating is for it. And it's going to be a good time no matter what.
And actually, the 17th show is featuring Stephen Wolf that's signed with Evolve.
That's right.
So he was on the WWE Network. So, you have somebody right there that has huge spotlight right now.
Yeah. Izzy, do you have anything you want to go say or anything? If not,
never fry bacon when you're naked.
Why not?
Well,
you want to see my burn marks? No kidding.
Demonetized.
That is the reason why.
That's
no, I don't have anything really. No, I'm good.
All right. Well, make sure you guys give us a sub on the Facebook page. This will be on the Middle of Nowhere Entertainment's Facebook page. Once I get it downloaded onto Middle of Nowhere Entertainment's YouTube page, make sure you hit subscribe on that so that way you get notified when new videos get posted for the Potato Aim podcast, for us, the Crimson Mask podcast, and for the Off Tackle podcast. I'm going to set up playlists so it's easier to get to each one whenever you guys want to try to find them so you're not scrolling forever. We really do appreciate any support, any outreach, anything like that, any comments. Even if you guys are saying you guys suck at this, change this, we'll look into that. We want to get better at all of this. And if you guys have tips and tricks or whatever, just put it in the fucking comment section. We'll look at it and see what we can do and see if we think that would work for what we're doing too. And yeah, we're going to try to get our setups working a little bit better because I know there was some audio and video issues with Skype. And right now that's pretty much all that we have. But we're going to try to get some stuff changed around. We'll get some stuff figured out. This is episode 1. We got this.
How about we throw out this challenge? I throw out a challenge. So if we can get 100 subscribers, we'll do a chop contest.
We'll have a pro wrestler chop one of us.
Well, yeah, so that person will pull the name out of the hat
I was gonna say, why do I feel like I'm the one that's gonna get chopped?
because I'm going to put your name 3 times in the hat.
God damn it.
I think my chest feels out with Herrick.
I'll tell you here in a couple months. But we do have some other things planned. I know I have a Twitch page. We do have a Middle of Nowhere Twitch, which is MON Entertainment. We are going to eventually do some wrestling streams, some 2K streams. We're going to try setting up a tournament with some of our friends that are wrestlers that you will be meeting on the show eventually. And Izzy actually mentioned also trying to do like a Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank stuff, because that's what Izzy, myself, and our friends that we watch all the big four shows with. We literally wait. Izzy probably wakes up at like 3 a.m. to start fucking roasting shit.
Yeah, the smoker.
And we fucking play video games from like 10 until 5 when the shows start, or 4 when the shows start.
Remember that one that we hooked up the, what was it, Super Nintendo? No, the Nintendo 64.
N64.
We played No Mercy.
Yep.
I mean, that I would love to, like, just, one of these times, like if we hit episode 50, we talk a little bit and then we kind of just show us playing a game and just having fun, that'd be awesome.
So we got ideas. If anybody else has ideas for what we can do on this, talk about for showing clips of shit like that, because the editing software is coming. We for all 3 podcasts, we will get some stuff. Everything's in the works. This is still infant stages for Middle of Nowhere Entertainment as a whole. But I don't have anything else I really want to talk about. So until next week, guys, go support your indie wrestling. Watch everything that you can. Watch any type of wrestling. But until next week, thanks everybody for stopping out, and see you later. Bye.